And welcome back on a Monday evening from Norton, Virginia. We're live for the UVa-Wise Coaches Show. I am Steve Kern from a class yet to be determined from Clinch Valley College. Good crowd gathering tonight as we look towards the end of the football season. Other fall sports are ending. Let's talk about the week that was last week for UVA-Wise as some of our seasons are coming to an end. The men's golf team finished up their fall season by finishing 7th at the Walter State Fall Golf Classic, a two-day score of 655 last Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Blake Blizzard was 23rd, a score of 160. Jacob Smith, 27th, 164. Tyler Robinette was 31st at 167. Nick England and Cody Large tied for 35th, a two-day score of 172. Their season is done now until the spring. Women's volleyball went out of conference, played Bluefield State, who is 16-4 at Bluefield last Wednesday. They lost in 3 consecutive games, 25-14, 25-16, 25-20. They remain 7-1 the Mountain East Conference. 12-10 is their overall record. They, as a team, had 23 kills, 23 assists, 28 digs, and 14 blocks. Carly Allen, 8 kills and 10 digs. When the volleyball team got back in action on Friday, they went to West Virginia Wesleyan, where they won 3-1, 25-23, 19-25, 25-18, and 25-23. That puts their record at 8-1 in the conference, 13-10 overall. The team, 49 kills, 48 assists, 79 digs, and 7 blocks on the night. The next day, they played at Fairmont State, and at Fairmont State, they won 3-0. 25-19, 25-15, 25-12, and 9-1 now. It's a conference record. Can't read my own writing. 14-10 is the overall. 32 kills, 32 assists, 39 digs, and Carly Allen becomes the first ever Cavalier to reach both 1,000 digs and blocks in her career. Now the Mountain East Conference championships were held. The conference championships were held this past Saturday, 8K for the men and 6K for the women. The men finished in 5th place. Shaquan Wilkins was in 5th. William Young was in 9th place. Anthony Wallace in 42nd. Stephen Bath in 35th. William Law in 23rd. Israel Bowling in 39th. Tim Wallace in 40th place. They finished 5th. They'll go on as a team to the regional championship in a couple of weeks. The women suffered a little bit. They finished 10th. Sarah Elbon with a 29th place finish. TJ Hell 44th. Caitlin Emal at 52nd. And Whitney Colley at 54th. Okay, so that's the week that was. And a few of the women will transfer into the regional championship in a couple of weeks at Lock Haven, Pennsylvania. Now, let's talk about what's coming up this weekend here on the radio. Of course, after this, we'll have Tech Talk Live. It begins at 7 o'clock. Hokies got to talk about a tough 4-overtime loss at home against the Duke Blue Devils, and they'll travel up the road this Saturday to Boston College to face the Eagles. That game time's at 12:30. Our pregame broadcast begins at 11 o'clock. That's on FM 92, the Wolf WDIC radio. All right, the UVA-Wise Cavaliers will be at home Saturday against, let's see, who we played. It'll be Urbana. I forgot who we're playing. That will be a home game at 1 o'clock. And that is trick or treat for the kids this Saturday. I'll explain that here in just a minute. Our pregame show begins at 12:30. The game broadcast will be at 1 o'clock. 3 games left, 2 at home, 1 on the road, and hopefully we can get a win pretty soon against one of these 3 opponents. All right, there's next week here, this week coming up here, we've got volleyball versus King at 7 o'clock on the 28th. That will be Wednesday. And then on Friday, volleyball versus Wheeling Jesuit at 5. And then volleyball versus, that's it for Friday. And on high school football for Friday night, Ridgeview takes on Grundy, 7:30 kickoff, 7 o'clock the pregame show. And then, of course, it's right here on the Wolf 92.1 and streaming live at WDICradio.com. Now, October 31st after the football game on the Wolf FM 92. It's the trick-or-treat celebration in Clintwood. It'll be held right across the street from the library. We'll have a live remote broadcast on the Wolf from 5 to 7. If you're a child from the age of 0 to 13, you're allowed to participate in this trick-or-treat activity. So that is Friday from 5 to 7 across the library, downtown Clintwood, live remote right here on the Wolf. Now, talked about a couple of things this Saturday at UVa-Wise. Tailgate competition for this Saturday's game at the red and gray lot up behind the press box on the home side. The theme is Halloween/UVa-Wise. Entries will be judged on school spirit, presentation, most unique theme, and signature dish. It's a $100 entry fee. The proceeds will benefit the UVa-Wise football. Portions are tax deductible. Prizes for first, second, and third place entries. And if you have questions about this, call the athletic development at area code 276-328-0259. That's 276-328-0259. Or email keh3x@uvawise.edu. And this competition is sponsored by, created by the End Zone Club Parents Organization. Now I mentioned it's Cavs and Candy this Saturday against Urbana. It's a costume contest. The winners, and I do say winners plural, will get a $50 gift card to the bookstore. If you are dressed up in a Halloween costume for Saturday, you get to come to the game free. If you are a parent and bring a child in a dressed up Halloween contest, then the child and you both get in free. Other sports team members at the college will also be on hand to give out candy to the children. That's a free admission this Saturday if you are dressed in a Halloween costume at the game, or we have a child that's dressed up in a Halloween costume and there's a costume contest. The winners to get a $50 gift card from the bookstore. And other sports team members will be out to hand out candy to the children. All right, we have a little giveaway for a gift card tonight, and our trivia question is very simple. This place, of course, in 1954 was born as Clinch Valley College. It has grown and grown and grown. It finally did change its name to the University of Virginia's College at Wise. The question is, if you find Daryl and tell him the year, he's sitting over here on this side where we are broadcasting from, tell him what year Clinch Valley College became UVA-Wise, and you win a free gift card from right here. Of course, the gift card can be used after tonight's show. One more thing to mention up there at the Ridgeview High School on December 1st, 5:30 start for girls and boys basketball. It's Grundy at Ridgeview, 5:30 for the girls. I guess the boys will start 7:15, 7:30, and then have a special exhibition after that. It's going to be Huntington Prep School against Mount Mission, and a boys contest following that girls-boys high school doubleheader in the brand new Ridgeview Gym. I would assume this is the opener for the Ridgeview Gym on December 1st. Again, our trivia questions is, what year did Clinch Valley College become UVA-Wise? Find Daryl and tell him the answer, and you might win a gift card. Cavaliers lose consecutive game number 8, 41-32 at Fairmont State this past Saturday. When we return, we'll talk to Coach Lusk to find out what was going on, what happened, etc., and so forth. Right now, we'll step out. You are listening to the UVA-Wise Coaches Show on the Wolf, 92.1 WDIC Radio, and we're on location live in Norton, Virginia. All right, back here on the UVA-Wise Coaches Show, we're live in Norton, Virginia. Cavaliers lose, unfortunately, consecutive game number 8 at Fairmont State. And Coach Lusk, I see as we start the game off here, they score rather quickly. We've seen this kind of stuff before. And then on the next series of plays, they kick off to us. We lose it again, and we're down 14-0, but we can turn ahead, right?
Well, we fumbled. They took it right down and scored, like you said, on the opening possession. Thank you. And
people bringing the stuff here today. That's nice.
Very nice. Then kicked it off to us. We're ready to go, and we fumbled. They take it in, score, go up 14-0. But you know, when you're sitting at 0-7 at the time, down 14-0, you know, a lot of folks would be like, here we go again, but
That's-
not our bunch.
yeah, that's what I'm
We
saying.
took it 15 plays, 75 yards, went down the field, and it was a heck of a drive.
That's what said were the best drives of the year.
And even on that drive, we throw the fade to Terrence Younger, and they called him for push-off pass interference, bring it back. We throw it again. This time they're tackling Terrence. Pass interference, get it right back. And I tell you another couple young men offensively that played extremely well for it. Dan Lewis had a really good game. And Javante Latney.
Yeah, I just saw that he scored your first rushing touchdown of the day.
And he was carrying people and toting the rock. And it was raining the whole entire time.
Well, what's new?
There we go.
We've had very few nice picture-perfect weather days, and this was not one of them.
Wasn't one of them. But Fairmont State has a very good offense, no doubt about it. They kept scoring, but we kept scoring.
Right.
And we were answering, we got it as close as 7 there, and really good ball game, but we just couldn't quite make the play offensively or defensively to get us up over the hump.
I mentioned Javant Latney scored a rushing touchdown, and Lewis had, what, 3 or 4 touchdown passes?
Had 4 touchdown passes. Another young man I want to mention, James Cousins.
He caught a couple.
He had a couple touchdown passes, and he had a tremendous game. Cam Little, one of our slot receivers, had a few catches and did a nice job. Troy Garrett was doing a nice job on the offensive line for us. Of course, Zach Blair defensively, once again.
Yeah. What's new?
You can count on him. I think he had 15 tackles.
I think, yeah, that's correct. You score, and you're down 14-6, and the extra point was blocked. We're having trouble with that again.
It was blocked, came right up the middle, and then we had another one. We had a bad snap. Of course, it was raining. Now, you don't want to make
Yeah, that's
excuses,
true.
but
That's true.
it was under tough conditions, and they kicked a couple field goals there that kind of separated, but they scored 5 touchdowns. We scored 5 touchdowns, and difference, a couple missed extra points, and 2 field goals on their part.
He had a 41-yard kick and a 30-yard, looks like 30-yard field goal in the first half. And then you get back in the game. Then as soon as you're down 14-6, right back in. And then they come back and they go up 21-13 with 14 just early in the second quarter. So, but you made a run. After they scored 2 touchdowns, you came back. Then they score again. Then they scored 10 more points. But you got down to 24-20 one time, didn't you?
Yes, we did.
And the halftime came along, and then all of a sudden, I think it was 40. It was down by a couple scores.
At halftime, I believe we were down a touchdown.
32-26. There it is. Right.
Okay. And
I just found it.
They scored to go up 2 scores, and buddy, let me tell you what, we took it down the field pretty quick. Let's see if we can find that scoring drive. It was
digging.
It was pretty quick. Right before the half there. About 30 seconds, 4 plays, 55 yards.
55 yards.
And we hit some nice passes on that. Dan
3-yard
did a
touchdown
tremendous,
pass to Younger,
did a nice job. And but hey, we're battling, and we're right in the thick of it. And once again, we just got to find a way to make the plays at the end to give ourselves an opportunity.
Now you mentioned Lewis had 4 touchdown passes, but he also had 3 interceptions.
Well,
that's the mistakes that, of course, again, you
one of those was at the end of the game, trying to throw it up and make a play. Another one, Terrence had hurt his shoulder, and Terrence was keeping it to himself. And you got to let the coach know, Terrence. And
You're hurting.
He's thrown a great ball. Normally, Terrence is up and getting that. Couldn't raise his hand.
Now, I think I've heard all year we got to find someone other than Terrence Younger to throw to. Cousins had 2 touchdown receptions, so we found somebody else. And of course, Griffith is also running the ball and he's catching some passes.
And he's catching the ball. I'm going to tell you who else. All right, receiving, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people. And that should be Denzel Henderson. He instead of Chance Fry, he had a torn jersey, and we had to find another jersey quickly to put on him. But there's Griffith with 6 catches, Younger with 6, James Cousins with 5 and 2 touchdowns, as you mentioned. Cam Little 4 catches, 55 yards. Skylar Brownlow's been real instrumental the last couple of weeks from tight end and slot and doing a good job. Had 3 catches and 48 yards. Javante Latney with a big catch and a first down. And Denzel Henderson on a 3rd down and 7.5 catches a flare route and picks up 8 for a 1st down. So, there's some kids starting to come around and make some plays for us. And, we threw for 333 yards. So there's a lot of positive to take out of that.
Right, well, Lewis getting 4 touchdown passes. That's a positive. And not throwing all the younger, you found another receiver.
Right.
In Cousins, okay? Now, let me ask you this. And obviously, Daniel Lewis played because Jeremy Eubank's season is over.
Yeah, Jeremy's got a partial tear of the MCL. He'll be out 4 to 6 weeks, but does not require surgery. So Kendra will get him rehabbed and get him back going here and ready for spring.
Now, with that in mind, of course, these two were, I thought they were pretty even quarterbacks all
no
year.
doubt.
And now, who is the next backup after Lewis
We
was a
have
backup?
2 quarterbacks behind him, Max Rogers from Grayson County and Jalen Sykes from Hayside.
Okay. Now, let's look at the rushing stats here. 50-some yards rushing for the Cavaliers, 171 again. It seems like that's a stat we're losing every week because we're having a hard time running the ball.
We're having a hard time. Although Lightning had 60 yards rushing, our problem's been the sacks. That's the yards against.
Right. Yes. And those are 15 yards plus every time.
And then when you're behind and got to throw the football, it makes it tough. But Lightning had a good day rushing, 60 yards for us. Griffith, he had 12 yards rushing, but also contributed with the 6 catches and 75 yards in receiving.
333 yards passing for Lewis, 28 of 48 with 3 picks. 48 attempts, that's a lot for a college football game.
It is a lot, and it's more than we would like to be throwing, but you got to try to win.
Yeah. 4 touchdown passes. They had 1. They threw it 31 times, 19 completions, 1 interception, because the turnovers were 5-1. We had 5, they had 1. Now, having coached JV basketball before, I always preached about turnovers. And when you go down the court and you have the ball and you turn it over, that's 2 points we didn't get, and 2, that's a 4-point swing. In football, there's one time where you're driving and they get the interception, and if they score, it's a 14-point swing.
Right.
So that's 5-1. 4 times 14, that's 56 points. Of course, it was a lot closer, but you got to look at that sometimes.
Well, I think they only got points. They got them off the kickoff return fumble, and I believe they got them off of Dan Lewis's fumble there. We were driving and had our slot receiver open, and he just didn't seam and hangs onto the ball a hair too long, and they knock it loose, they recover it, and they get 6 points out of it.
And there's 2 scores. That's enough to win the game. Now,
you're
down by 9. You're trying one last chance at the end there. They couldn't run the clock out. You got one last.
And that's another reason why they've won 4 games.
Yeah.
That's their first. That kid threw his first pick of the year right there.
That's right. He had
from
no
Fairmont
interceptions.
State.
That's right. Yeah.
And but once again, some of our picks come from behind at the end of the game, but we're having a couple turnovers, like you're saying, during the course of the game that aren't helping us any. And we've got to learn to protect the ball better, and that's confidence and execution better.
Lots of penalty yards. Again, it's even for both teams. We're penalized 12 times. They're 11 times, 135, 110. And those yards can come at sometimes inopportune times, too. That's
right.
just part of it. Again, on defense, you did mention that Zach Blair did his usual thing. 15 tackles, I think, total. Timmy Metter had a good.
He's played well the last 2 or 3 ball games. Right. He really has. And Alvin Anahero also played well this past weekend.
And you had 7 people catching a football, and you had 4 touchdown receptions for 2 different players. Again, the younger all the time to found somebody else to catch the ball.
Right.
Now, that game is over, and again, you got down quick, you had a chance to come back, and you had a chance to make a run at it. So at halftime, you felt like you're kind of still in the game.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, here we fought back from down 14-0 after the first 5 minutes of the ball game. It's a 1-touchdown game. Unfortunately, the rain came down even harder in the second half, which made it tougher for both offenses. And as you can well see, there was 1 touchdown apiece scored in the second half. And we had our opportunities, but we battled, we competed well. It was nice to see our offense get better. And got Urbana coming in this week. We're going to put that one behind us, learn from it, and let's go get Urbana.
And Daniel Lewis is prepared to step in and be the starting quarterback, and I'm sure he's ready to go.
He
had a good
is
game.
ready and raring to go.
And
yes,
he's done
sir.
a good job.
He did a really nice job.
Okay, so that one's behind the books, 0-8. We got 3 to go, and we'll talk to a few more people. We'll come back and close out our show with Urbana. We'll put this behind. Injuries, let's check on injuries. Anybody that's kind of iffy this week that you can tell about right now? I know it's Monday, it's kind of early.
Right. Troy Garrett was a little banged up this weekend, so we'll have to see on him. Skylar Brownlow was a little banged up as well, so we'll have to check on him. But Kendra hopefully will work her magic and get them all back ready to go.
She's one of our guests tonight, so I'll ask her. I guess I just asked her.
That's the person to
there you
ask.
go. That's the person to start asking injuries. Okay. All right, we'll talk to you in a few minutes, Coach. Thanks for coming over. We'll catch you about Urbana here towards the end. Right now, we'll step out here. You're listening to the UVa-Wise Coaches Show right here on 92.1, the Wolf WDIC Radio. And we are live on location in Norton, Virginia. We are back at the UVa-Wise Coaches Show. The trivia question is for tonight: what year did Clinch Valley College become UVa-Wise? Now, I got a fellow Crocketeer here tonight. We came back here one year for alumni when they played out at J.J. Kelly. Myself and him and one of my other guys came in. We walked into Crockett Hall when it was a dorm. Kind of walked around. These guys come up to, can we help you guys? We're just looking around. We want to see what the dorm looked like. Oh, Crocketeers! So we all got called Crocketeers. Did you hear that, Corey? Did you hear that story? You want to know that story of Crocketeers? There it is. Okay, enough about that. We welcome.
It just means you're old, Steve.
Yeah, it does, but I know that. We welcome right now Coach Kristin Kunzman, the University of Virginia's College of Wise women's coach, who coached the NAIA. I think it's what, Big South?
Mid-South Conference.
Mid-South, okay, so I forgot. And now in Division II NCAA. And Coach, I'll ask you first, in comparing NAIA to Division II, first of all, thanks for coming on.
Oh, thanks for having me.
And what's the biggest difference since you've coached in both of them now?
Honestly, the biggest difference, well, basketball-wise, the first thing is rules. Just the difference in, having different rules. Where NAIA is, I guess you could say, a lack of rules.
Yeah.
And then basketball-wise, and with the rules comes different kind of rules for transfers. So I would notice, like in NAIA, with our league, there was a lot of transfers in the Mid-South, Division I transfers. There is that as well in the Mountain East. It's just different. There's not as many.
And now, of course, we are official NCAA Division II, except the fact, of course, your team the last couple of years has made the first round of the tournament. You have to be in the top, 8 or 10 or something
Correct,
like that?
top 8. Okay.
And then you get to play first game on a satellite site, and you advanced to Charleston 2 years in a row now.
Correct.
And last year you battled some team that took it to overtime.
Yeah, we've battled West Liberty a lot. We played them the first year in the Mountain East, and we played them last year in the Mountain East. We played them much better last year, went into double overtime. I mean, it came down, it could have gone either way. That game could have gone either way. Our girls played really, really hard. And West Liberty went on to win the tournament and went to the NCAAs.
If I remembered, you played Concord in the opening round, and you lost them just a couple weeks before that.
Yes.
And then you had to go over and play them, and you thought, well, that's going to be hard to do. You remember beat them?
Yeah, they're kind of like I kind of think of them as our rival, where they're just, they're kind of one of the closer teams to us. So we lost to them in the regular season, which then, we were able to beat them. We had to play them back-to-back, able to beat them in that first round, so that was good.
That was tough, yeah. 8-4, 8-14 conference record last year, 10-20 overall. And I guess the biggest thing, when I look at the roster and look at last year's stats, when you had X number of players on the roster, then one of them was injured after the year, then you had to play with mostly 10 people. And I know as well as anybody else, it's hard to play 40 minutes of basketball with actually 8 people.
8, yeah.
Yeah, that's got down to 8.
Yeah, we had some crazy situations last year where we were low in numbers, but with that being said, we have 6 of those girls coming back, and so I think that's good. We have a really good core, including Kunzman was injured, and so
right,
including
that's my
her.
next comment was
yeah,
her being
coming back.
That happened early, so that didn't help.
No.
When that came out. So let's talk about last year's team. That is over now. In terms, you had one senior, and then she's already gone and everything. So you've got pretty much a fresh group coming back. And as I look at what's coming back here, you got some juniors coming back. Well, you got seniors Blair Harding and Kahea Greer. Did I say that right?
Kiana Greer.
Kiana Greer, okay. They averaged 22.4 points per game as juniors. Harding 16.1 points per game, led the team. She was first team all MEC. And you got some juniors back from last year. 2 stars, actually 4 stars back. Taylor Sandage, I like a very good little point guard, isn't
Yes.
she? And center Kayla Carey from down Tennessee. Sandage has started all of her games in their college career, averaged 11.1 points per game, and then 4.1 rebounds and 2.7 assists as a point guard. That's pretty good too.
Yes.
She's small.
Yes.
And then of course the other girl, the big girl inside, Carey, 48.2% the floor, 11.7 points per game, 7.3 rebounds a game, and had 5 double-doubles. Now, you've got Kunzman back, so basically do you have a starting 5 from last year? It's back if you count Kunzman as a starter, pretty much?
We have those 4 back, and then with her,
Okay.
she was a starter those
Right.
off and on those first 2 years. So with all those girls, they all have started minutes, definitely.
Now, let's talk about, before we talk about what you have this year, recruiting time. I know this time of year when you're practicing, it's hard to recruit. When's your best time you find to go recruiting?
We do a lot in the summer. I tell everyone in 6 weeks between June and July, I was in Wise for 6 days. So we're on the road a ton in the summer. So that's really, and trying to get, we'll sign some girls early, and we look forward to, putting that out in November and being able to talk about that once that happens.
Do you find that being Division II now helps more in recruiting?
Yes, I think the first 10 minutes of our conversation isn't what NAIA is. We're NCAA Division II, and this is what conference we're in, and this is what we're about. So it's a little bit easier.
A couple other girls that come back here, sophomore Allison Ball, the 6th returning letterman from a year ago, averaged 19.8 minutes per game as a freshman, 135 points, and she was one of the best free throw shooters you had, wasn't she?
Yeah, we're excited. She's really improved. Seeing her in this preseason, just from last year to this year, it's been tremendous. You can tell just her maturity on the floor as well. I think it takes a year sometimes as a freshman. Just the speed of the game and those kinds of things.
Okay, you have 7 newcomers will join your 6 returners, so that gives you 13 people, a lot more than you had last year this time.
Yes.
That's got to help. I'm going to let you take over and talk about those new people on this team here, because you know more about them than I do.
Okay.
If you want to look at your roster or look up here, that's what I've got right now.
Okay, no, that'll be great. Well, first off, we have 5 freshmen. We've got 2 post players that came in, Allie Moore and Dakota Turner, both size, 6 foot or taller, and that's going to help and give us depth inside. Kayla Carey does a really good job for us, but she plays a lot of minutes, and when you're getting up and down and banging inside, it's definitely good to have some blows there. Then we have a couple guards that are freshmen. Ashley Jackson, she's a transfer from Tampa. She redshirted at Tampa last year. So she has a year of college experience, but, didn't play in games. So she's really excited. She's going to be a good offensive threat for us. We're looking forward to that. Ashley Cullen, she's out of North Carolina. She's another freshman that we signed, shooting guard. And then we also have, we call her Quick. Her name is Aldemarez Gomez, but she goes by Quick, so that's a little bit easier to say.
That is much easier. I'm glad you told me that.
Yeah.
Quick Gomez, that's good.
Quick Gomez. So, and so she's a backup point guard, so it's nice to have her under Taylor, where Taylor, has started all of the games in her career. They've been battling in practice, which is nice. With that being said, we have 2 transfers that came in. Natalia Sarr, she's from Brazil, but we saw her play at a JUCO in Texas, so just got her out of there, and she's got athleticism. She's a hard worker. You're gonna see her on both ends of the floor, and she's gonna help us out definitely. And then Chantel McCall, she's out of New York. She played at a junior college up in Boston, and so she's a swing guard and still getting used to our system and those kinds of things.
Is that all of them?
Yeah, that's all.
Now,
all 7.
let me ask you.
I think so.
Several. I'll make sure you got several. You mentioned several transfers. How many transfers in total do you have now?
We had our 2 seniors were junior college transfers last year, and then we brought in 2 juniors this year, and then we have 1 transfer that's from University of Tampa that was a redshirt freshman. So altogether 5 that would be on the roster.
How do you get these people to come here?
Recruiting them.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a different.
Wonder how it works.
Yeah, it's just a different way. You're not seeing their high school games in AAU basketball. You're
Right.
seeing them play in junior college, or sometimes it'll be if they're interested in transferring, it's getting their release and them reaching out to you about it.
And the different places these people come from. That's what amazes me is where they're all coming from now.
Yeah. That's something that's definitely different from the first year I've been here. We had a lot
Right.
more Virginia girls. And we'll continue. I mean, we still recruit in Virginia and that kind of thing, but just the way things worked out, we do have a roster of girls from a little bit of everywhere.
And you've got numbers this year, which has got to be a lot better than it was a year ago at this time.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to go 5-on-5 in practice without all the coaches lacing up their snakes.
Speaking of coaches, go ahead and mention your staff.
Yes, we're returning the same staff. We have Renee Renz, who's been going on her 3rd year with me, and Alicia Gervais, who's in her 2nd year with me.
And I noticed that the Mountain East meeting is next Monday night, so y'all will pick where we're going to finish. Of course, that means nothing, but you still got to go and talk to her about it.
Yeah, we're turning in our preseason polls this week, and then we'll have media day, and we'll also have our meeting and kind of go through things and see how it shakes out before we get started.
So you got to be excited about this year, looking ahead as to where you were last year with the injuries and stuff that happened. So, how do you feel about this team right now?
Well, I feel like I need to knock on wood just to make sure, because there were some early injuries there. But no, feeling good. I think that the girls are working hard in practice. I mean, we're still, we just had our 10th day of practice today, so just still have a long way to go as far as defensively and getting the girls that are new, 7 new girls, getting them up to speed with our system and that kind of thing.
It's like having freshmen all over again, isn't it?
Right.
Now, let's talk about how you practice. I know I listen to Coach Lusk say they got practice at all hours because of class and everything. Do you have the same problem?
Yes. Like, we'll practice tomorrow at 5:45 in the morning because of the girls that have class and labs till really late. So our classes are, I couldn't imagine being a football coach because there's so many more players. We have 13.
That's a lot easier to work with, I know.
Yeah, and we still have, we lift early in the morning, sometimes at 5 in the morning, and we'll practice sometimes late at 7 or 9 at night. So it definitely can make for a long day sometimes for them. But we just try and make it where, they can make it to practice and make it to class.
Do you get to practice in the prior center? Do you have to do some at the Greer Gym, or do y'all split up? I just wonder how this works.
90% of the time, if maybe 95% of the time, we're in the convocation center. If there's something going on, we might go to Greer.
Like the cooking show tomorrow.
Yes, actually, yes. So, but it's rare. It's a handful of times a year. So.
That's nice. And I guess part of recruiting is getting these people in this beautiful gym too, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just getting down to campus. The campus, not just the gym, the campus. It's just so I love it. It's so pretty. But the gym, it kind of sells itself, in that regard. Once they see it, they're pretty excited about it. It's one of the nicest ones.
Hell yeah! So you mentioned this is the 10th day of practice, and you open up here soon, November 18th, isn't it?
Yes, November 18th.
At
Winston-Salem.
And then that's one game, then you got to jump right in the Mountain East Conference schedule.
I know,
and on the road.
I know, it's crazy. It comes really quickly.
Is it Charleston or is it?
Yeah, we play Charleston first,
Okay.
which is nice. We actually will play them at the at our convention center there.
Yeah.
So it won't be at their
21st.
school. So we'll actually get
That's
game.
a Saturday, okay. That's
correct.
The Saturday after you play the first game down in Winston-Salem, then you turn right around
and
go
play
back
state.
up there and play Western State. Then you'll have a few home games for a long stretch of home games.
Yeah, that'll be nice before going into the break. We'll get some home games, conference and non-conference. So.
And then that dreaded trip in January up the road to Notre Dame and Urbana. Hopefully
but we have it over.
The snow.
We have it over the break this year,
that
so
helps.
that's nice. It's like it switches every year, so the fact that it's over the break, it helps. We're not missing classes.
So is the team pretty much gelling pretty good together?
Yeah, I think they've gelled really, really well off the floor as far as, which is important, having that team chemistry, and it's just continuing to get them. Okay, the returners, they know exactly where she's going to be and where she's going to cut, so it's getting the newcomers, to mesh in with that.
Attitude good on this team?
So far, yeah. They've like I said, they've had a really good work ethic. I can't question that. They come in and they work hard. And so it's just, sinking, all that other stuff. Their work ethic's there now. It's like working hard with a purpose.
Well, successful the first 2 seasons in terms of getting that first round win on the road and then going up to Charleston and being able to play in that. Hopefully you can go a step or two a little bit further this year.
Yeah, we'd like to. Our girls have made goals, and they want to be in the top half of conference. They want to get to that conference championship game. They're hungry for that. So that's something that we talk about daily. We have to work hard every day so that we can get there at the end in March.
Well, it's a 4-month process. It's beginning right now, and we certainly thank you for coming by and talk about your team, and I hope a great season coming up for you this year. We wish the best luck to you, your coaches, and your basketball team, and thank you so much for coming by.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, that's head coach, women's coach, Kristin Kunzman, and we'll step out here and we'll come back to talk training You are listening to the UVa-Wise Coaches Show on the Wolf 92.1 WDIC Radio. We are live on location in Norton. Back at the UVA-Wise Coaches Show, we have a winner. She's sitting right here. The question was, what year did Clinch Valley College become UVA-Wise? We had several guesses at it. Kendra Potter is one, and she's sitting right here to receive a reward, a free gift certificate. You can't use tonight, though, by the way. You can start using it tomorrow. Which brings me to our next guest here. This young lady's in her 8th season as a member of the UVA-Wise athletic training staff. It's her 4th year as the head trainer. She did serve 4 years as assistant trainer here and oversees the training needs of several Cavalier teams. I'm sure she has a very busy schedule. She's the Norton, Virginia native, had locally at UVA-Wise, was graduating with a 3.91 grade point average, exercise, sport, and health education with a concentration in athletic training from Radford University. She earned the Virginia Association of Health, Physical Education, Recreation, Dance, the Outstanding Major in Athletic Training Award while at Radford. She's worked with the NCAA Division I Highlanders crew as a women's soccer, women's basketball, softball, and track and field teams during her tenure. And she is a BOC certified athletic trainer, holds a Virginia license in athletic training. She's a graduate of John I. Burton High School in Norton and was 3rd in her class with 4.041 GPA. And as a Raider, she was the Virginia High School League Group A Female Athlete Award, the Athlete of the Year Award, and here's a name you don't hear much anymore, a Lonesome Pine District female. The great name, Lonesome Pine District. Kendra, you got your gift certificate now, you're ready, so thanks for joining us. And you see this young lady down the football field all the time on the field, and approximately how many hours a week do you put in doing this job?
Oh, that's a hard question to answer. It depends on the day. I can work anywhere from 8 to 10 hours a day. Some days go 12 to 14. It just depends on what's going on. We are a little understaffed, so you may have football practice and then you got to cover a little basketball practice.
So how many do you have that's with this staff total?
There's 3 athletic trainers on staff.
Counting you?
Counting me.
Okay.
And then I have 2 assistants. Dana Sibrel and Aaron Asbury, so it helps not being by myself and stuff.
So you're never by yourself, but you're kind of overseeing where, okay, you go here, that kind of thing, right?
Right, yep. Unless we have multiple events going on in one day, say if we have football practice, volleyball practice, and a tennis match, then we're all 3 at different locations. It just depends on the day on what the schedule is.
So you have someone around every time someone practices too, right?
For the most part, yes. We try our best to. Right now we're with all the teams that are in season. Obviously, contact sports take priority. Football will always have someone there, at least one person, if not 2. Lacrosse is up there, and then women's basketball, men's basketball is also up there.
In terms of your education to get to what you're doing right now, how much did that require in terms of how many classes this you had to take? It's a lot of stuff, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's definitely a lot of stuff. You have to go to an athletic training program. It has to be an accredited program. I actually went to Radford. Basically, you can get it in 4 years of undergrad, and then once you graduate, you have to take a board-certified exam. It's kind of like the boards, like for a nurse or a doctor. Once you pass that, then you can practice as an athletic trainer anywhere.
So you're just a doctor, aren't you, really, when it's all said and done?
Almost. Very similar. I would say we're more or less like a healthcare provider.
Yeah. Now, I guess obviously you see the most injuries in football. There's no doubt about that. And you're at almost every practice, every game. What's the worst injury you see? I mean, what's the most common injury? Let me change that. What's the most common injury?
The most common injury with football, I would say an ankle sprain or a knee sprain. Worst injury I've ever seen, maybe dislocated elbow. That's kind of a little gross. Nothing has really disturbed me too much, but you always have your catastrophic injuries, which sometimes can be scary. So
every time you see a guy laying on the field, you got to run out there, and I guess you first go, what's wrong? It takes a while to diagnose what might be wrong, right?
Right, yeah. You run through a series of questions. Anytime someone is down, my first thought is if they just move something, I know they're okay. Lots of times it's a matter of once you get out there on the field is just kind of settling them down. They might be a little emotional, upset with the situation. Most of the time I kind of just take a brief look at it. If it's nothing too major and I feel like it's safe to move them, I'll get them off the field and then evaluate them on the sideline.
Biggest thing I heard this summer, and I went to a high school seminar on the they talk about concussions. That's getting big in all aspects of football now, isn't it?
Yes,
Concussions.
yes.
You have to listen to stuff on that too. I'd listen this summer about concussions and doctors talk about, okay, here's what we need to do, here's what we need to do. Do you go through the same routine?
Well, we actually get a lot of training on that in our education, in our program, but at the same time we have to do continuing education units to maintain our certification. So sometimes that's in there if you choose it or not. I think nowadays it's not that we're seeing a lot more concussions. I think the awareness has just been risen on it, so that's why more people are like paying attention to it.
Now, when you all, of course, it's nice to be working here when you have home matches and home games, yes, but we've got to play on the road. And if you go on a football game or any other trip, you got to take a separate vehicle, don't you?
Yes, most of the time we take a separate vehicle just in case someone does get hurt and we need to take them to a hospital, or let's say they might have to stay overnight at a hospital. That's why we do take a separate vehicle.
And having to travel with football and volleyball now, and then you got basketball coming up, you do spend a lot of time on the road, don't you?
Yes. Yeah, we pretty much leave when the team leaves. We got to make sure we arrive to the stadium or the court at least an hour or so, 30 minutes to an hour before the team does, to kind of prep, get everything ready. And that way, as soon as the bus, gets there, we're hitting it, getting them taped, making sure they're hydrated and all that.
Do you tape a lot of ankles?
Oh yeah, lots of it.
I should know better than that. I just figured.
Yes.
I know football, you probably tape them every day, don't you?
Yes, every day. Practice, we do a lot more taping on game days. Some people want that TV tape, got to look good. We do tape anywhere from about an hour and a half to 2 hours straight before a game. It gets a little tiring after a while. You hope for a wrist to come up so you can get away from the feet, but it does take a lot of time.
So how many rolls of tape does this take?
A lot, yeah, it's quite a bit. I would say easily a box to two per game day.
Wow. Now, let's talk about volleyball. What's the worst type of injuries in volleyball?
Volleyball, you tend to see more upper extremity injuries, more shoulders, overuse kind of stuff. But it is common also to see a typical ankle sprain or something like that.
Let's jump to basketball. In wintertime, it's a little bit easier. You only basketball's all you got to worry about, isn't it?
Yes.
It makes it a lot easier.
To me, I consider it a downtime. Sometimes I forget. I'm used to going really with a lot of stuff in football. Once I transition to basketball, I kind of have to slow myself down and the pace down. But you do see very similar injuries in basketball, a lot of knees and ankles. Occasionally you might have a wrist or something like that.
And most of the time when these teams play, it's always the women play first, the men play second in conference games, a few non-conference games, just solo games. But once the season starts in the Mountain East, it's boom, 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 and go with it 2 games a day. Springtime, baseball and softball. How serious are injuries in those 2 sports?
With those sports, you tend to see just overuse kind of injuries with the elbows and the shoulders. Occasionally you'll get one trip over a base and hurt an ankle or something like that, but most of the time it is like a throwing mechanism kind of injury.
What about tennis?
That's the same thing. It's an overuse injury, a lot of elbows, shoulders. That's what we tend to see.
Now, do you pay money? Well, I guess you have to, but like the cross country and the golf teams, they don't get quite as injured as the others do, but you still got to be around, don't you?
Yeah, they don't get quite as injured. The way we set up our hours is in the mornings we do treatment hours or rehab hours, and so it's like an open flex time. So that's when our individual sports will come in, and with those sports you tend to see overuse injuries, especially like cross country. They're getting their mileage up. They may have not trained or they've overtrained, and so basically we got to try to settle some things down that way.
So a normal day, what time does your day start? Or is there a normal day?
There's never a normal day.
I figured that.
If there's no practices in the morning, 8 o'clock. Right now we're in football season. Football practices at 6 o'clock on Thursday. So I arrive on campus about 5:15 a.m. Anytime, whatever time practice is, we tend to be there 45 minutes to an hour beforehand.
So your schedule is rather rigorous, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all over the place. Never consistent.
Well, I know we're home volleyball this week, so you get to stay home a little more this time, don't you?
Yes.
It's
yes.
Nice, okay. All right, well, we want to thank you for coming by and letting us know how the taping of ankles are and everything else, and I didn't realize how tough your job really is with all the things you got to take care of, and the small staff makes it tough.
Yes.
All right, that's Kendra Pod, the head trainer here at UVa-Wise. We're going to step out and then talk to Coach Lusk about Urbana. You are listening to the UVa-Wise Coaches Show on the Wolf 92.1 WDIC Radio. We are live on location in Norton. Hi, back with Coach Lusk here as we wind down this edition of the UVa-Wise Coaches Show. 0-8 with 3 games left, 2 at home, 1 on the road. Urbana Blue Knights come calling, and I'm sure you've probably heard this over and over here, but as the season goes on and you're down to 0-8, is the pressure mounting to get that first win? I'm sure it's been asked of you. That's not the first.
There's always self-inflicted pressure, but if you're going out and doing the very best you can and the kids are hustling and trying hard and it's tough, and we're playing a very competitive, good schedule, and I mean, look at Concord, how good they are, and they're sitting at 4-4 right now. It's a battle week in and week out. We've had an opportunity to win a couple and have gotten away from us and played some other folks tough. We just got to put 4 quarters together of football and offense and defense and mistake-free. And that's tough to do. But what we can't let have happen is the mental part of it, where you haven't had success and things start going adverse. You can't help but have a mental letdown, and that's what we've got to overcome. But I'm proud of the kids for hanging in there.
Yeah, that's key,
and that's huge, because it's a lot tougher than you think when you're sitting at 0-8. But Urbana's got a very good defensive football team. Offensively, they've had some woes, but you can't take anybody lightly in this league whatsoever.
No.
But it should be a game that we should compete well in and have an opportunity, and hopefully we can get the first one this Saturday.
If the team, and I'm sure they look at the standings, they look at the team this team's play, you got to say, here is our best chance. It's a home. It's a team at the bottom part of this. We got to go on the road next week, but it's our last real good chance to win a game at home, because we got Charleston last game, and they're a little bit higher up. We'll not worry about them later, but this is going to be the best chance to win a home game is this Saturday.
Is this Saturday. And if we find a way to get this one, I think it increases your chances to have an opportunity to win the next one, as crazy as that sounds.
That's right. And I heard that Daryl told me there was a kid on the defensive side that's got more tackles than Zach Blair does now. I've heard that.
On
Urbana's
Oh,
team.
yeah, probably the Gary Wallace. He is a tremendous player. And there's another good linebacker, Kevin Chappell, and they return both those kids, very good players, and they have a defensive lineman, Curtis Galloway, but the Gary Wallace has been an all-conference performer, a steady player, can run, very physical, and like I said, their defense has only given up 28 points a game, and they're about in the middle of the pack defensively, so we've got a great challenge in front of us offensively. Need the defense to step up for us this week and hold the offense to a little. But for once, offensively, the offense stepped up last week and did a nice job. But we need to play 4 quarters of football, offense, defense, special teams, and put it all together.
Quit messing up on special teams, quit messing up on penalties and the turnovers, which are really hurting there. And now you said this team offensively, they have no real superstars. They just have a decent little offense.
Offensively, that they kind of like us have played a couple quarterbacks. They've got a decent little running back coming back from last year. They've got a couple returning offensive linemen, and their kicker returns. And last year, if you remember, he's kicker and punter. Punted us inside the 5 about 3 different times last year, and that kid's back.
Well, let's take this Halloween and trick the other team and treat the fans to win.
Let's do it.
All right, Coach, good luck this Saturday. We'll see you Saturday here. Final segment here in a moment. You're listening to UVa-Wise Coaches Show right here on 92.1 The Wolf, WDIC Radio. We're live on location in Norton. Kendra Potter wins our trivia contest tonight. She was a correct answer of what year did Clinch Valley College become UVA-Wise. It was 1999. She won our gift card tonight. She was one of our guests here, one of the trainers here at UVA-Wise, the head trainer. Okay, coming up after this, Tech Talk Live with a talk with the Hokies in the game with Duke. They have Boston College this Saturday. That will be a 12:30 start. Pregame 11 on the Wolf 92.1. And we'll be on the AM side. That begins at 12:30 with Urbana, a 1 o'clock start. Don't forget, if you're in town tomorrow night in the area, come by the cooking show at the Pryor Center. We've been pushing this for a long time here. That's the cooking show tomorrow night at the Pryor Center. Volleyball against King, Wednesday at 7. Volleyball against Wheeling Jesuit at 5 o'clock. And don't forget, college's game is free if you dress up in a Halloween costume, or if you have a child, bring that child, you get in free if that child wears Halloween costume as well. And you are listening to the UVa-Wise Coaches Show. Don't forget, here we got Tech Talk Live here. We'll see you Saturday, and we'll say good night from Norton, Virginia.